chosen ShuffleNet and Mask RCNN. So ShuffleNet is used for image classification, and Mask RCNN is used for human pose estimation. So why they have chosen these networks? Because many people, upload their photos on Facebook. So nowadays, these apps, they are very intelligent, they're very smart. So they apply deep neural networks to, do content filtering so that nobody should be able to upload vulgar contents, or plus they analyze and find out what is the human pose. Is he like happy, or what is he sending some message? Similarly, whether it is a human or and so on. So there are actually more complex things they do, but this image classification is just the very, very basic algorithm, or the first step. So here, this is the low-end smartphones. This is mid-end and high-end. This is the YX plots, normalized speed up over first smartphone generation in the low-end tier. That means compared to this, what is the speed up of all other smartphones? So here, performance tier does not always correspond to inference. Actually, I think it should not be performance. I think it should be price tier. I will cross check it. I forgot to cross check it, because this is performance doesn't correspond to performance is not correct. I'll check it. I think it is price tier. So for both DNN models, the newest generation of smartphones in the low end tier offer competitive performance as that of the mid end tier. Sometimes, even some of the, as like some of the cheaper phones, they can give you, or maybe this performance may be the peak performance, and this is the inference performance. I'll cross check it. I forgot to cross check it. So the point is, even in the low end tier, you can get very good performance comparable to that in the mid end tier. And even though the hardware resources which may be available, but how much of that is used by an application depends on the type of the application. So here you can see high end phones offer large speed up on, they offer larger speed up on Mask RCNN than for ShuffleNet. So for example, for Mask RCNN, they offer higher speed up than they offer for the ShuffleNet. Now let us see the impact of using DSP. So here they take a big doll little cluster where they have 4 big cores and 4 small cores, and they're comparing it with a DSP. 4 high performance CPU cores are used by DNN models. Now, DSP shares the same memory space with the CPU core. Okay, so the memory, so as you know, like the LPDDR is same, but the caches are not same. CPU has its own cache, DSP has its own cache. As I will discuss later on, you will see that DSP has its own separate cache. So this makes programming easy. It isolates CPU and DSP, because if they had a same cache, then both of them will contend for the cache, right? So they avoid that thing by using separate caches, and it avoids cache thrashing of other processes running on the mobile CPU. And it also guarantees stable execution. So when you have sharing of resources, you have better resource utilization, but at the same time, there is also, competition for those resources. But when you have separate resources, just like you are allocating your quota, okay, this one has this quota, this one has this quota, then they can work independently, and you can achieve guaranteed performance. So here you can see that DSP provides higher performance than CPU for all the models. Although for some application it offers higher performance, higher speed up. Some of them it offers lower speed up. So the amount of speed up is not same, and by that is high speed up comes from models with simple convolution operations such as hand tracking and image classification. So CPU has a more complex, architecture. DSP is somewhat simpler. So for more complex thing, DSP does not have any special advantage, but for simple operations, DSP has a higher advantage. So there are some reasons for it. I will skip that now, because we have not discussed vector instructions in a detail, or load store, or this depth-wise convolution. None of this we have discussed depth-wise. So I'll skip it. Now this is very interesting, and this is easy to understand. Let us see the thermal considerations, because most of the times we only focus on either performance or the energy consumption. But thermal consideration is also important for the mobile, because you have to keep the mobile in your pocket. Plus mobile has a battery. So if you are and it is a very small form factor, right? It is very small in size. So if it is dissipating so much heat in a small area, it can get very hot easily, right? If you are consuming, or if you're dissipating, so much heat in a larger area, the temperature will not rise much. But if you are dissipating same amount of energy in a small area, then the temperature will rise a lot. So here is the FPS. So the dark one is for DSP, the lighter one is for the CPU. So this is over time. Pose estimation model is running on both CPU and DSP. So temperature is lower with DSP, power is lower with DSP, and FPS, which is frames per second, is higher for DSP. So DSP is better in power, performance, and thermal consideration. That means it has lower power, lower temperature, but higher performance. And one more thing which is very interesting is that this is here actually throttling happens. So what is throttling? Throttling means, when the temperature is going above a limit, we can't tolerate that, right? If the temperature becomes too much, it is not allowed. So what we do, we throttle. That means we reduce the frequency greatly. So initially CPU consumes two times the power than DSP. Then thermal throttling happens. So CPU power consumption drops. Throttling is just like, you throttle somebody's neck. So you don't allow them to make a lot of progress, right? So you cut down the resources of CPU. Okay, you can't go with higher frequency. You can't, instead of 4 cores, you may have to use 2 cores like that. That's called throttling. So it is still, CPU consumes higher power than DSP. Thermal throttling degrades the performance of CPU to 10 FPS. Now DSP is preferred due to its lower power consumption and lower operating temperature. However, DSP incurs much higher programming overhead. As you see, right? CPU is well understood. CPUs have been used over many years. So, and CPUs are designed by, CPU design is easy. Whereas DSP is designed only by Qualcomm. So, other companies may not even know how to program it. So programming becomes a challenge. So because of that, that increases the price tag. And DSP support only fixed point data types. They don't support floating point operations. So that means you have to lose accuracy. You have to convert your model into fixed point and then run it on DSP. So that leads to accuracy loss. So the point is, here we have only done 3 metrics: performance, power, and temperature. We have not seen the accuracy. So it may be that for a particular application, DSP may not provide sufficient accuracy. Then you can't use DSP at all. Even if it has better performance and better energy efficiency, you can't use DSP. So, and also memory layout also needs to be optimized. Otherwise, memory hierarchy can become a bottleneck because of the vector operations on the DSP. You need vector operations on the DSP. As a summary, main reason to switch to an accelerator such as GPU or DSP is power efficiency and stability in execution time. It is not just the speed up. Speed up is secondary point. First thing is the benefit. The reason we want an accelerator, especially in the mobile domain, is that it offers better power efficiency, so your battery can last longer, and you can have predictable execution time, so that users won't complain. Users will have a good quality of service. Any questions here?